How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Anime Love Talk, and this is going to be episode 4. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Fullmetal Alchemist and exactly how this kind of played into my hand, because Fullmetal Alchemist has become one of my favorite series, but it's Brotherhood that's my favorite, not the first one. And let's jump right into that and why the reason for that is. Anyways, let's go. Anyways, guys, so talking about Fullmetal Alchemist, right after Soul Eater, I decided I wanted something similar. I wanted something that I was familiar with, but at the same time I was foreign to. And Fullmetal Alchemist was just one of those series that I knew for a fact I knew nothing about it. Yet I remember waking up late at night watching a couple episodes. My bad. Sorry, the audio cut out for a bit, and I had to redo that real quick. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, I only watched a couple episodes of Fullmetal Alchemist before I really even like got a grasp of what the series was. And after like I said, the binge of Soul Eater, I was like, you know what? I need to see something that everyone has been talking about for the longest time. Brotherhood has just been coming out, and I was like, you know what? I owe it to myself to watch Fullmetal Alchemist. I've seen it so much as a kid. I should definitely give it a peek. So after watching episode 1 and 2 Fullmetal Alchemist, I was already hooked. I was just in love with the whole idea of like the second Ed told was her name Maria Rose? I can't remember her name. The brown chick who was obviously like Latin descent. And he told her, "You have 2 legs, move them on your own." Or he said something like, "You have legs, you can walk, and you can never give up and shit." Like he basically gave her this big spiel about keep moving forward. And the second I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna love this fucking anime. I'm gonna fucking love this anime so much. I already know it's gonna be dope." Yeah, so getting into Fullmetal Alchemist, I wasn't prepared for anything of the sort. I wasn't prepared for the heartbreak of these 2 boys who lost their mother, the philosophy of what's right or wrong. Is it right to do bad things for right, people? What is war really about? Like every fucking thing. Just this Fullmetal Alchemist is just a beautiful like philosophy paper done by a guy who's trying to figure out what is the right path. Is it neutrality? Is it going, being offensive? Is it being defensive? And I think there's no right answer to it. I think that's what makes the series so good, is that you can see everybody's answer and everybody's answer to the solution, or everybody's answer to what they think is the solution. And it's just so interesting to see how all these like literally clash against each other. I have not once hated the original Fullmetal Alchemist at all. I actually recommend it more than Brotherhood, only because I think Brotherhood has more of a streamlined story, like where it's going, and Fullmetal Alchemist just hits you with like this, I wouldn't say reality bending, but it definitely makes you think like, damn, like the world is such a small place, and it's so easy that we can, jump from one side of the world to the other. Anyways, as we keep going, I believe I'm 15 at this point. Yeah, I'm still 15. I am just aghast about everything that I'm seeing. The Nina episode, like everybody who first ever watched Fullmetal Alchemist, literally killed me. It killed me. I remember watching this thinking, damn, like, this is so fucking horrible. What kind of man would do this to his own daughter? Then you kind of think, like, for a man who has nothing, like, he's willing to give, like, take his chance on everything he has left just to get back a little something. I was disgusted, and yet I understood where he was coming from. I think his name was Shaw or something like that. No, it's something Chinese-ish. But I was just at a gas about that episode. It kind of fucked me up. I was like, damn, bro, who could do that to their kid? Fuse it with the dog, and the dog had feelings, and there's still a soul, there's still a living being. And the second Ed is beating him up, and the doctor says, "You're no better than me. You try to break your mom." You're kind of left like speechless, thinking, is he no better than this guy? Tucker Shaw. I remembered it. Is he Shaw Tucker? He's no better than Shaw Tucker, because Shaw did the very thing that Ed wanted. It's just left me like such a deep thinking thought of like, is it right or wrong to be doing this? Obviously, morally, it's wrong, but like the idea of starting this, would it be better if we have this keep going? It just disgusts me how much that you can actually feed into the thought process of like right or wrong to this, because on paper it just looks disgustingly wrong. But for alchemists, for the government, this is something that they're worth like putting the effort and putting the blood on their hands for. And we go more into philosophy of Ed trying to figure out, Al trying to figure out, is he human more because he's just a soul, or like being just a soul, does that even make you human anymore? And like stuff like this is a really like made Fullmetal Alchemist so strong and like sit so well like in my heart, was that it kept making you ask yourself questions, and it kept making you like question everything that you were seeing the main characters questioning. Was using Philosopher's Stone the real best way of like getting their bodies back? Even though the Philosopher's Stones are made out of human bodies. I mean, sacrifice human souls, actually. That's what the Philosopher's Stone really is. In real life too, actually, if you didn't know that. But it's just like all these morally, not even gray, but morally black and white questions being asked, and trying to find some gray middle ground, but knowing that you can't find it because these people have to either stick to their guns or betray everything that they believe in to get what they want back. And it's just so fucking wild, man. The game these guys play, the journeys they take, it goes beyond that. For like the latter half with Dante coming in and telling her that she's their daddy's old lover and all this other stuff, kind of loses track with the homunculus are amazing. Them all being sort of like the misfit children, you know, the forgotten misfit children of people who try to bring or try to have done like the one the alchemists are not supposed to do. You have a greed being just this lonely boy, I think, that worked for Dante. You had Sloth being their mom, who was like their first mistake. You had Wrath being their teacher's mistake. You had all these mistakes, like just coming back to life. You had Lust, who was Scar's brother's wife's mistake. Like all these people that, like the homunculus, were reflections of the very mistakes that they made. And I was just, damn, so these really are their 7 deadly sins. These really are the very things that alchemists have like broken, and now they get to see their sins right in their faces. Just a shell with another human soul just looking back at them. I can't ever really believe any of this. I can't ever really like at the time, like I couldn't really process like all this like big questions being asked to myself, because I was thinking back to myself, then if I had that very ability, would I do the exact same thing as the protagonist? Would I go as far as they did just to get my body back, or would I do just the very minimum and accept the fate that I've kind of put myself on? The series is just so amazing, and being a 15-year-old kid at the time, I was just, like I said, I was aghast. I was speechless. This show was everything my young brain wanted. I mean, at the time, I was reading a lot of Kurt Vonnegut, so like, I mean, like I loved asking these big questions. These very like, you know, I wouldn't say like anti-war or anti-anything. It was just like anti like not thinking at all, kind of. I always wanted to think. I didn't want to turn my brain off 1 second. I think this show really like offered that to me, like with all of the big questions being asked. And the ending of the show really didn't suck too much as a lot of people thought it would. I didn't hate it. We find out that Ed and the whole Fullmetal Alchemist world exists kind of like in Germany, but it's not really Germany. It's like a reflection world of Germany. If you go through the gate, you find yourself on the other side where people do a different type of science. They use, it's our world version. They use our world. They don't use their world. Like alchemy doesn't translate to that world. And basically, like you have to do big sacrifices just to make up the equivalent exchange to cross the gate and shit. It's just so good that, you know, you find like a twist like that at the end of the series, and then it doesn't really wrap up. The series ends with Ed being trapped on our side of the wall, Al being back to an 11-year-old boy, so he doesn't get fully matured, but he gets his body back from the moment he lost it. And we have Ed and his dad like on the other side of the gate just trying to find a way back, and then you have Al just being the new Fullmetal Alchemist, kind of, not really, on there. He wears his brother's cloak basically, and it's it's pretty wild. Some of the homunculus survive. They decide to live in harmony with the people. Everything about the ending felt bittersweet because we feel bittersweet about it, but we feel kind of happy. And I'll get into this before we end the video. What I say about happy is the final shot is Ed looking up in a train up to the sky and kind of just thinking to himself. He's just thinking about how he can find a way back to the world. And you kind of feel a little like I want to say submersive, but you feel a little like, man, because you realize he doesn't get to be with Winry. He doesn't get to kick it with his little brother and live on happily ever after. He's on the other side with a father that he kind of is estranged to, but it's just a fun way to see how it goes. And the movie wraps it up perfectly. You watch the show, then you watch the movie, and the movie basically is a direct sequel 3 years later. It's pretty good. Kind of wraps up the whole series. The only problem is the movie has its own kind of fun twist. Is that now Al's over the gate, so it's Ed and Al in the gate. Their father dies. All the other homunculus die. They fight a threat from this world that tries to invade their world because I guess their world is like a hidden world or something. I don't really remember. All I remember is it's very annoying how this series kind of went, and I liked it a lot, but I wasn't satisfied with the ending until Brotherhood comes out. But we'll talk about Brotherhood another time because this one, Brotherhood is a different story. I love Brotherhood, but for now, this is my end of the video. Picture on me, the thoughts of Fullmetal Alchemist. I was in love with this series, man. I could not stop clapping my hands together, hoping to offer something in equivalent exchange. I thought the whole show offering different types of philosophies and ideologies was just superb. Everything about it made me want to watch the show more, made me want to get into alchemy more, made me want to read philosophies more about people who shared these same ideals with. I could not get enough. Only until Brotherhood did the philosophy thinking really pick it up a tad bit and be more of a mentality and stuff. But for what we got with Fullmetal Alchemist, I really do treasure it a lot. It's such a beautiful piece of art. It's so amazing. I think every moment of the original, especially if you're not an anime fan, you can just get into and enjoy it a lot, especially if you're just an avid anime watcher, someone who just sees it when it's on. I highly recommend it, guys. But yeah, this is gonna be the end of the episode. Next episode, we're gonna be talking about God knows what. I'll have to remember it, but I'll let you guys know when the episode airs what we were talking about. But for now, thank you guys so much. This is your boy Papi Wolf saying peace and bye-bye.